Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30, 1853, in the small village of Zundert, located in the southern part of the Netherlands. He was the eldest son of Theodorus van Gogh, a Protestant minister, and Anna Cornelia Carbentus. Growing up in a religious and somewhat strict household, Vincent was a quiet and thoughtful child. His family was large, with several siblings, but Vincent often felt different from others. He was sensitive and introspective, traits that would later deeply influence his art. From an early age, Vincent showed an interest in drawing and painting, but his path was not straightforward. Unlike many artists who receive formal training early, Van Gogh was largely self-taught. As a young man, he tried various jobs, including working as an art dealer, a teacher, and even a missionary. He struggled to find his place in the world, often feeling lost and misunderstood. Despite these challenges, Vincent's passion for art grew stronger. In his late 20s, he decided to dedicate himself fully to painting. He began to study on his own, experimenting with techniques and learning from the works of other artists. His early paintings were dark and somber, reflecting the difficult times he experienced in his personal life. Van Gogh's childhood and early life were marked by feelings of loneliness and longing. He was close to his younger brother, Theo, who would later become his greatest supporter. The letters Vincent wrote to Theo provide a valuable insight into his thoughts, struggles, and hopes. These letters reveal a man who was deeply passionate about his art and determined to express his unique vision of the world. Although Vincent van Gogh did not achieve fame during his lifetime, his early life set the foundation for one of the most remarkable artistic journeys in history. His experiences, emotions, and determination would later be visible in the bold colors and expressive brushstrokes that made his paintings so unforgettable. After deciding to commit himself fully to art in his late 20s, Vincent van Gogh faced many difficulties on his path to becoming a painter. Unlike many artists of his time, he did not attend a formal art school in his early years. Instead, he was mostly self-taught. He studied art books, copied paintings in museums, and practiced constantly. This independent approach gave his work a unique style, but it also meant he faced many challenges without traditional guidance. Vincent's early paintings were very different from the bright, colorful images he is famous for today. His first works were dark and somber, often depicting peasants, farmers, and scenes from rural life. One of his most famous early paintings, The Potato Eaters, shows a poor family sitting around a table eating potatoes by dim candlelight. This painting reflects Van Gogh's interest in portraying the difficult and humble lives of working people. He wanted to show their reality honestly, without romanticizing or beautifying it. During this time, Van Gogh struggled financially and emotionally. He depended heavily on his brother Theo, who supported him both emotionally and financially. Their relationship was incredibly close. Theo believed in Vincent's talent even when others did not. Vincent wrote hundreds of letters to Theo, sharing his thoughts, frustrations, and dreams. These letters are now an important source of understanding Van Gogh's inner world. Van Gogh's personal life was filled with hardships. He had difficulty forming lasting relationships and often felt isolated. His emotional struggles were evident in his intense focus on painting. He worked obsessively, sometimes painting for hours every day. Art became both his passion and his refuge, a way to express feelings he could not put into words. In pursuit of his art, Van Gogh moved several times. He lived in places like Brussels and The Hague, where he experimented with different techniques and subjects. In 1886, he moved to Paris to live with his brother Theo. Paris was the center of the art world at the time, full of new ideas and artists experimenting with styles like Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. Here, Van Gogh met artists such as Paul Gauguin, Camille Pissarro, and Henri Toulouse-Lautrec. Exposure to these painters influenced Van Gogh's work, encouraging him to use brighter colors and more dynamic brushstrokes. Despite these artistic developments, Van Gogh's mental and physical health deteriorated. He suffered from bouts of depression and anxiety, and his intense lifestyle often left him exhausted. His passionate and sometimes erratic behavior worried those around him. Even so, he continued to paint, producing hundreds of works in a few short years. Vincent's dedication to art, despite his many struggles, shows his incredible determination and love for his craft. His journey was not easy, but it was filled with moments of discovery and growth. This difficult period laid the groundwork for the extraordinary art he would create later in life, full of emotion, color, and energy. After spending several years searching for his artistic voice, Vincent van Gogh's style began to evolve into something truly unique and powerful. This transformation took place during a crucial period of his life, especially after moving to Paris in 1886, where he was exposed to new ideas and other artists who were experimenting with different techniques and styles. Paris was buzzing with creativity, and Van Gogh eagerly absorbed everything he could, expanding his artistic horizons. In Paris, Van Gogh's palette changed dramatically. His early paintings, known for their dark and earthy tones, gave way to much brighter and more vibrant colors. He was inspired by the Impressionists, who captured light and movement in new ways, and the Neo-Impressionists, who used small dots of pure color to create shimmering effects. Artists like Claude Monet, Georges Seurat, and Paul Signac fascinated him, and he experimented with their ideas to find his own expression. Van Gogh also developed a bold and dynamic brushwork technique. Instead of carefully blending colors, he applied thick, visible strokes of paint, known as impasto, which added texture and energy to his works. This technique helped him convey emotion and movement, making his paintings feel alive and intense. His brushstrokes swirled and danced across the canvas, giving the viewer a vivid experience of nature and life. One of the most productive periods in Van Gogh's life was spent in the south of France, especially in the town of Arles, where he moved in 1888. The bright sunlight and colorful landscapes of Provence inspired some of his most famous masterpieces. During this time, he painted sunflowers, wheat fields, olive groves, and starry nights, subjects full of life and symbolism. In Arles, Van Gogh also hoped to start an artist community and invited his friend Paul Gauguin to join him. Their time living and working together was intense and filled with creative energy but also personal conflict. Their friendship ended dramatically after a famous incident in which Van Gogh, struggling with mental illness, cut off part of his own ear. Despite this tragedy, the period produced some of Van Gogh's most compelling work, full of raw emotion and vivid color. Van Gogh's portraits during this period also stand out. Unlike traditional portraiture that aimed for realistic and flattering representations, Van Gogh's portraits revealed the inner character and emotional state of his subjects. He painted self-portraits that showed his own struggles and intensity, as well as portraits of friends and locals that capture a wide range of human emotion, from hope to sadness. Throughout his artistic development, Van Gogh was driven by a deep desire to express what he saw and felt about the world. He once wrote that he wanted to paint the eternal and show the beauty in everyday life. His use of color was symbolic. For example, bright yellows represented warmth and hope, while blues often conveyed melancholy and depth. This emotional use of color helped Van Gogh connect with viewers on a profound level. Despite his innovative style and emotional depth, Van Gogh's work was not widely appreciated during his lifetime. He exhibited only a few times and sold very few paintings. Critics often found his work too bold and unconventional. Yet, Vincent remained dedicated to his vision, painting with relentless passion even without public recognition. This phase of Van Gogh's life reveals the remarkable artist he was becoming, a man who saw the world differently and translated those visions into breathtaking works of art. His paintings from this time are now among the most beloved and studied in the world. They continue to inspire artists, art lovers, and anyone who appreciates the power of creativity and emotional expression. Vincent's artistic journey was one of constant growth, experimentation, and fearless exploration. It was a journey marked by light and darkness, hope and despair, all captured through his unforgettable brushstrokes and vibrant colors. This legacy reminds us that true art often comes from the depths of personal experience and that beauty can be found even in struggle. Vincent van Gogh's life was not only defined by his extraordinary artistic talent but also by his profound mental and emotional struggles. Throughout his adult years, Van Gogh faced increasing challenges with his mental health, which had a significant impact on both his life and his work. Understanding these difficulties helps us appreciate the complexity behind his art and the man himself. Van Gogh's mental health problems began to worsen during his time in Arles, where he had hoped to build a community of artists. His passionate personality and intense emotional life sometimes led to episodes of severe anxiety, depression, and psychosis. One of the most famous and tragic incidents during this period was when Van Gogh suffered a breakdown and cut off part of his own ear after a heated argument with his friend and fellow artist Paul Gauguin. This event shocked those around him and marked the beginning of a more serious decline in his mental well-being. After this incident, Van Gogh voluntarily admitted himself to a psychiatric hospital in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. During his time there, he continued to paint prolifically. His artwork from this period reflects both his inner turmoil and his extraordinary vision. Paintings such as the Starry Night capture swirling, vivid skies that seem to express both wonder and madness. The intensity of his brushwork and the emotional power of his colors reveal how closely linked his art was to his mental state. Van Gogh's hospital stay was marked by periods of both lucidity and severe distress. He experienced hallucinations, confusion, and extreme mood swings. Despite these hardships, painting remained a source of comfort and focus. His ability to create during such difficult times is a testament to his dedication and resilience. He often wrote to his brother Theo, describing his struggles but also his hope to continue working and improving. After leaving the hospital, Van Gogh moved to Auvers-sur-Oise, near Paris, to be closer to his doctor and brother. There, he produced an astonishing number of paintings in just a few months. The works from Auvers are filled with vibrant energy and emotion, reflecting his continued fight against his inner demons. Tragically, Vincent van Gogh's mental health never fully recovered. On July 27, 1890, at the age of 37, he shot himself in the chest. He died 2 days later, with his brother Theo by his side. Van Gogh's death marked the end of a life filled with intense creativity, pain, and passion. Though he struggled greatly during his lifetime, Van Gogh's story is one of incredible courage. He continued to create masterpieces despite suffering from illnesses that were not well understood at the time. His openness in letters about his feelings and fears provides a deeply human glimpse into the challenges of mental illness. Today, Van Gogh's life encourages greater awareness and compassion for mental health. His legacy reminds us that people struggling with mental illness can still contribute extraordinary beauty and meaning to the world. Vincent van Gogh's life ended tragically and quietly, but his legacy would grow to become one of the most influential and celebrated in the history of art. Despite selling only a handful of paintings during his lifetime and struggling with poverty, illness, and rejection, Van Gogh's work has become a symbol of passion, creativity, and emotional depth that continues to inspire millions around the world today. After his death in 1890, Van Gogh's brother Theo, who had been his closest supporter and friend, died just 6 months later. Theo's widow, Johanna van Gogh-Bonger, played a crucial role in preserving and promoting Vincent's art and letters. She organized exhibitions and published many of the letters between Vincent and Theo, which revealed the artist's thoughts, struggles, and brilliant mind. These letters helped the public and scholars understand the man behind the paintings and appreciate the profound emotion in his work. Van Gogh's style, once considered radical and misunderstood, eventually gained recognition and admiration. His bold use of color, expressive brushwork, and emotional honesty influenced many artists who came after him, including the Fauve, Expressionists, and abstract painters. Today, his paintings are regarded as masterpieces, displayed in museums worldwide, and celebrated for their beauty and originality. His most famous works, such as Starry Night, Sunflowers, The Bedroom, and The Potato Eaters, have become cultural icons, appearing in books, films, music, and popular culture. These paintings continue to move people deeply, conveying universal themes of struggle, hope, and the search for meaning. Beyond his art, Van Gogh's life story is a powerful example of perseverance and the human spirit. He reminds us that creativity often comes from hardship and that true passion can survive despite rejection and difficulty. His willingness to explore his emotions so openly through art has inspired countless people to embrace their own vulnerabilities and express themselves honestly. Vincent van Gogh's influence extends beyond the art world. His life has sparked conversations about mental health, the nature of genius, and the value of looking at the world differently. He has become a symbol of the artist as a deeply sensitive soul, often misunderstood but driven by an inner light. More than a century after his death, Van Gogh remains one of the most beloved artists in history. His paintings sell for millions, his story is taught in schools, and his name is known worldwide. But beyond the fame and fortune, it is his extraordinary ability to see beauty in the ordinary and express the depths of human emotion that makes Vincent van Gogh a timeless figure. His legacy is a testament to the power of art to transcend time, culture, and circumstance, to touch the hearts of people everywhere, and to remind us all of the beauty that can come from struggle, hope, and an unyielding passion for life.